And what did you think about TCU? They played today. They won. We play them next week. How do you think that game's going to go? Do you see? I know at the beginning of the season we both expected Texas to roll in this game rather easily because you got Gary Patterson revenge factor. We also didn't think TCU would be this good. I had them as like a 500 type team. I think you did as well. Obviously, they are way better than that. People can say what they want. They're a legitimately top 12 team in the country. In my opinion, they may lose a game or two here, but I think in this year of college football, they're legitimately a top 12 team. So we need to bring our A game.
Yeah, listen, this is a team that's very dangerous. You know how Max Duggan plays against Texas. They have two capable running backs. They have absolute burners at the receiver position, and the defense ain't no slouch. I know they played it from behind in a lot of games this year. They've rode the struggle bus on some, but it is what it is, and they're still undefeated. So it's up to us to go in there and end that winning streak they got going on.
Yeah, 100%. And it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Quentin Johnston committed to Texas. We could really use him at Texas. He's the type of guy we would really, I think, utilize very well alongside an Xavier Worthy. And he's been fantastic with them. Max Duggan, like you said, has been given nightmares to Texas fans for a long period of time because he wasn't good. And then he is good this year. He's for sure a better quarterback. He reminds me a lot of Bo Nix, the development he has made. He used to be just a runner and he would run all over us. And now he can throw too. And it's going to be interesting to see if we can keep him in the pocket. I think he's basically a healthy or better version of Spencer Sanders. And you saw what Spencer Sanders did to us. So we need to adjust. We need to play better, obviously, than we did versus Oklahoma State with Spencer Sanders. And hopefully we can contain him inside the pocket and go forward and win this football game.
Yeah, that's one thing the defense is going to have to do. You're going to have to contain that guy, and don't give up the deep shot. Is what we're going to have to. I mean, I hate to say that, with our defense because we give up the dink and dunk stuff all over the field anyway. But we haven't really been susceptible to many deep balls this year. So, but they, like I said, they have burners, and I think this may be a game where Ryan Watts may get exposed a little bit because he is the tall, lanky corner, but he doesn't have the speed of a Jameson or a Jahdae Barron. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And he's like matchup wise, if you're lining up our guys versus Quentin Johnson, you're going to pick Ryan Watts to guard him just body type wise because they're the same size. But agreed, Quentin Johnson is way tall or way faster than Ryan Watts, more athletic. But Deshaun Jameson, I just feel like would struggle too with the height. So I don't know who's going to match up on him. I think they should put a safety over the top and cover him like we kind of did a couple years ago with Tylan Wallace, where we basically have a corner and safety on him at all times and dare the other guys to beat us. Obviously, they still have good weapons, and Sonny Dykes is a great great offensive mind. So is Garrett Riley. So it's gonna be a good game. We could lose. I really think the Gary Patterson factor has to be considered here because he's a longtime coach, and then the way things ended, it did not end well. And what type of guy he is. He hated Texas for the same type of reasons, not for being fired, but just that grudge. And I think he holds that same type of grudge for TCU now. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But we could see them again. Even if we win this game, we're probably going to have to play them again if we win out in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like, and like the Big 12, it's like everybody's just feeding off each other. You know what I mean? The game after game, this team's supposed to win. In all honesty, I know we were favored at the game as far as the line goes, but who thought we were when they started storming back? Who thought that we were going to hold that lead?
No, I think most Texas fans thought. I thought as soon as it got cut down 34-24 that we were going to lose. Now that drive that they went on that took so long where they kicked the field goal, that actually made me feel good because they wasted 7 minutes on a drive to score 3 points. So I was like, okay, if we waste a minute and a half, 2 minutes, or even get a first down, the game's basically over because I don't trust Adrian Martinez in that situation. But yeah, when it was 34-24 with that amount of time left, I was like, this again, because if they went down there and scored a touchdown with like 4 minutes left, I think they would have beat us, but they didn't, thankfully. And we won the game 34-27. I'll throw that score up here again. And like I said, we beat TCU. We could play them again in the Big 12 championship. And the thing is, my mindset has kind of changed. I thought going into the last couple of games of the season, we would beat TCU and then struggle with like Baylor at the end of the season, because that is our last game at home. I actually think if we beat TCU, the Kansas game the week after, Kansas is a pretty good team. It's going to be on the road. There's probably a good chance it could be sold out. That game scares me more than the Baylor game now because of it coming right after the TCU game. And if we beat TCU and Kansas, we're not a one game basically winner take all to go to the Big 12 championship game. We're winning that game at home. There's no doubt in my mind we're winning that game at home. But that Kansas game to me is the one trap game now. That scares the hell out of me.
God, we can all lose to those guys 2 years in a row. That would absolutely demolish the season. It's even if we went 8-4 and that being our only loss, because that's what I think me and you both predicted is us going 8-4, and you said that we would lose to Kansas State. I said Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
We figured we would split those. But man, if we lost to Kansas, is that?
Yeah,
that's a heartbreaker.
It would hurt 2 years in a row. Now this would be justified because this is a good Kansas team. It really is. Like if Jalen Daniels doesn't get hurt, I think there's a real possibility that this is probably the third best team in the Big 12. Like, which is freaking insane to say, but I think it is. But that just scares me because you're going to be going into a very high intensity game at home versus TCU, and then you're going to come back and go to Kansas again. Baylor, again, I just don't see us losing in a one-game scenario to go to the Big 12 championship. I don't see that. And if we do, that shows me a lot about this team, in my opinion, because you're telling at the beginning of the season, if you're told your team you got one game to win or to get to the Big 12 championship game, I expect the best out of everyone. And I think our best versus Baylor, especially this year, beats them pretty easily. That's why the Kansas game kind of scares me.
Yeah, Baylor's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of team this year. They are not anywhere near the same team that they were dominating the Big 12 last year, and playing in the Big 12 championship game. And they look very different with Blake Shapen. I know he had the big concussion against West Virginia, but that's a very beatable team and very. I don't want to say. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say it's an easy win, but I think out of everybody we have left, they scare me the least.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And just like the scenario is the reason why they scare me. Like if you had no scenario and it was just you're telling me based off of the teams where we play them and stuff like that, Kansas would probably scare me the least. But I just don't like that fitting in right in between those two games. I really don't. That game scares me for that reason. I could be wrong. And what this Texas team as what they've done throughout their history of the last 12 years is they're going to win this game at TCU and then they're going to lose the game at Kansas. That's exactly what would happen. I mean, that's exactly where this program has been throughout its last 12 years and its history. It's just they get so close and they show you all this improvement and then they absolutely just rip your heart out, throw it on the ground and just stomp on it. And that's why I'm scared of that game.